Hello and welcome to the Relaunch Love Flick Show. I'm your host, Hilary DeCesar. We created the Love Flick Show to share secrets from ladies who have relaunched themselves in life, business, and love. This is for the busy, successful woman who wants to know what she must know, but doesn't have the time to go figure it out. I will be interviewing daily experts that are top in the industry. And each day in your inbox, we're going to bring you content not to be missed and key tips to get you on your path to relaunching fast. The Love Flick Show is a binge style 2-week expert series. Each show is informative and actionable. Our philosophy at Relaunch Love is if you can't use it right away, then it's useless. So start using the great tips and advice now. And today I am so excited to introduce you to Felicia Giouzelis. And Felicia is a spiritual teacher, master healer specializing in soul level healing and transformation with the Akashic Records, and we're going to hear all about that. Her spiritual journey began in 2014 when she heard and saw Archangel Michael for the first time. And Michael led her to working with the Akashic Records, which transformed her entire life and her business. And now she teaches others to confidently work with the Akashic Records to change their lives. Felicia, I have been a witness to this. I was so fascinated with it that I had to dive in. So now I'm sitting across from you on this call, and I'm so excited for you to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited too.
And it's so great because we have had a few conversations now. So I've really had a chance to wrap my hands around this whole idea of when I first heard about Archangel Michael, I was a little bit like, woohoo, what does this all mean? Can you tell us a little bit more about your story and your background on how you came to do all of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone out there that feels like skeptical about this right up front, just know that I was there too, right? So short story is I come from a sales and marketing background. And so when we consider the spirituality realm, I'm pretty new to that. I'm 4 years new to that, but that started just suddenly one day. I had a friend on Facebook who I didn't know. You know, we have a lot of friends on Facebook, but we don't actually know them, right? And she reached out and invited me to something called an angel healing circle that she was hosting. And it was close to my home, and it was a good opportunity to meet her too, but I didn't know what that was, and I was very resistant to going. And at the time, I didn't believe that we could actually talk to angels. I didn't think that was a real thing. And so somehow I just kept feeling really curious about the event. There was something that just kept pulling me to it. So I ended up going, and it was on New Year's Day in 2014, New Year's Day. And when she started talking to us, it was just me and one other woman at this workshop. And so a really small group. And she said, well, I'm going to lead you in a meditation so you could hear and see your angel for the first time, basically meet she said, your main angel.
Uh-huh.
And in the moment, I felt my skepticism hit like an all-time high.
I wonder why. Hey, come over to my house and we're going to get together and we're going to have angels come.
I thought, I don't know what this lady's talking about, but this is not, the first thought I had was, did I actually just pay for this? And so to my surprise though, when she started leading us through the meditation, I really was surprised. She started talking us through this meditation, and the first part was, she says, your angels have names and they don't have genders, but they're going to have a specific name. Mm-hmm. And so she guided us in the meditation to ask for our angel's name. And I kid you not, I heard loud, clear as day, the word Michael. And I heard it right outside of me. Like if a person was just talking into my ear and I heard it extremely loud, it was like a booming voice. And it was so startling that I actually opened my eyes and looked to my left because I thought somebody was standing there saying it to me. I thought this was some kind of joke. I was on candid camera or something. And so we continued with the meditation, and she said, well, our angels stand behind us, which they do. And if you want to see your angel, you have to ask them to step forward so you can see. Right?
Oh, all I see is that.
Right. And so I was curious, though, at the same time. Even though I was skeptical, I was still very curious. It kind of stirred something in me, and I wanted to continue with the meditation. So I did continue with that part, and she said, she guided us on how to ask. It's basically just asking them to step forward, and we were eyes closed in a meditative state. And so I did ask him, and I felt the moment that I asked him this really strong wind from my left side, like some enormous energy or person or whatever we want to call it was walking past me. So I actually felt that full body chills when this happened. And my eyes were still closed, but I saw him clearly standing in the distance. So being that my eyes were closed, I saw him with clairvoyance, which is our third eye.
I was going to say, so you're sitting here saying you saw him.
Yes.
And you also heard him speak to you.
Yes.
Okay, again, I just have to ask this because I'm sure everyone's thinking this. What does an angel really look like?
So they look different to everyone. So they're going to come in a image that is comfortable for you. So for me, being raised as a Greek Orthodox Christian, what was comfortable to me was what I saw on the icons when I went to church that I was raised around. So I didn't see him exactly like an icon image, and honestly, I didn't really remember what Archangel Michael looked like on the icons at this point in my life. It had been a long time since I went to church. I'm not very religious, to be honest with you. But what I saw was long, curly blonde hair about down to here, and like a shield, like if you were going to war, like a gold-plated shield. And I saw long drapes here of material, kind of like this, long drapes of material here in royal blue. And I saw like a pleated skirt. And then I saw, like an actual metal skirt. And then what was really the thing that stuck out the most to me were his wings. And they were so big and so long that in this meditation, I actually turned my head left and right with my eyes closed, and I couldn't see the end of his wings. Now, at the time, I didn't realize that Archangel Michael was the protector of the world. And so this was very symbolic. I learned that after the fact. That's
I'm glad you shared that with us, because I'm sure a lot of us do not know that. And what's really great is that behind you is this image of these, angel wings. So I think it's so apropos. It was perfect. All right. So now keep going with this, because I'm still fascinated. You said that you were skeptical about going to this meeting. How did you get yourself to decide to actually go? Because again, it seems a little out there that you're, on Facebook and somebody invites you to this circle and then you decide to go.
I just kept feeling so curious. I just felt it was like we've all had these moments where you just can't stop thinking about something and you eventually decide to just take that step. That's what it was for me. At the time, I didn't realize that that was actually intuition. Of course, now where I'm at in my journey, I get that. But at the time, it was just a curiosity. And I think that's very telling of what our intuition always encourages us to do now, is just be curious, follow that intuitive hunch, that curiosity that's leading you somewhere.
Okay, so you followed your intuition and you went and you met your angel guide.
Yes.
And then what happened here? Because I'm still, I know everyone is trying to figure out how did you end up coming to the Akashic Records, and what are they?
Sure. So I worked with Michael for the next couple of months and I heard him very, very clearly. So basically, I would just ask a question and I would hear an answer. And what I loved about this is it was easy for me to tell that I wasn't just making it up, because the voice that I would hear answering me was different than my own. So I could tell that it was his voice. So over the next couple of months, this course got advertised online and I felt, again, really curious about it, but I didn't know if I wanted to take the leap. There were a lot of different things being taught, but one of those things were the Akashic Records. So again, we have this curiosity thing now where I read the term Akashic Records in the course description and something kept bringing me back. And then when I consulted Michael on it, he said, yeah, go ahead and do the course. He kept it very easy breezy. He was like, yeah,
you had never heard of these Akashic Records before?
No, never.
Seriously. Okay. All right. So you made a comment that I want to go back to, and it was, you knew it was Archangel Michael because the voice was different.
Yes.
It was not your voice talking to you, which is interesting. It was this other. So that's fascinating. So you really started to believe that, hey, wait, either you got voices in your head and you're going,
right,
you know, woo woo, you're kind of way out there, or
yep,
something really is happening here.
yes.
Okay. And so it was interesting. You said you worked with him for a couple of months and now all of a sudden you went back and said, all right, I've now heard of these. Did you say, should I go take this course, or what happened then?
So leading up to that, just to go back to how I started working with him, I had to really learn to trust Michael, because I, at the time, was very anti-religion. I really didn't want to, I didn't resonate with anything in the church or anything that I had been raised with. And so he had to approach me very carefully to not trigger me into just walking away and not believing that this was going on. Plus, I had moments where I just thought I was going crazy. Because
yeah, I can understand. This is
I'm hearing a voice.
Experience. Yeah, you're hearing voices in your head.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And it's even worse when they're not yours. It's like, is this really?
That is so true.
And so he had to approach me very carefully. So he did certain exercises with me. What he would do was, I would ask him for guidance on something, and I didn't realize at the time, but I was immediately resistant to his guidance. He would say something and I would say, that doesn't resonate. I don't want to do that. That doesn't seem like it's going to be right. But then when I went my own direction, things fell miserably apart. And so it brought me back to him to get clarity. I wanted to find out why this was going on, why I was experiencing this challenge. And so I remember him explicitly telling me at one point, just try what I'm telling you. And if it doesn't work out, you never have to listen to me again. I mean, he just came out with it just like that. And I said, I mean, who's going to turn that down? I said, okay.
Why not try it? Why not try it?
I said, I'll try it. What's the worst that can happen? It just doesn't work out. I've already been experiencing things not working out, so let me give it a shot. And each time I followed his guidance over this next few months, everything worked out. Everything was on track. Things like dominoes just started falling in place in my life. So when he suggested this course, where one of the modules in it was the Akashic Records, I didn't hesitate to jump into it. Now, like you mentioned at the time, I had no idea what the Akashic Records were. I had never heard this term before. So this course, basically, the Akashic Records module consisted of a 2-page PDF, 2 pages only. And she explained what they were and how to get into the Akashic Records. So, and after that, she left you to the wind. You had to go figure this out on your own.
Here's your 2-page PDF. No,
right?
no.
It was no training materials on how to work with the records. It was just get in and go explore them on your own. Okay. So when I was reading about it, and I've just come to my own conclusion, just working with the records for 4 years now, the Akashic Records are just an energetic space. So when I see them, I see a big library, and this is the library in the universe. So no matter which souls we have on the planet or elsewhere,
Mm.
everybody has access to the Akashic Records, because this is where your soul's individual plan for the lifetime is stored. So I'll compare it to going to a library here. Like if you want to go check out a book, the Akashic Records are the library that you'd go to in the universe, and you would check out your own soul's book. You can actually grab your soul's book, open it, and read information about your history. And you can do
I'm
a
sure
lot more.
people's heads are spinning right now. Okay, so for me, the Dewey Decimal System in the library, olden days, was very challenging. This seems like you're telling me that there is a library for your soul.
Yes.
Is it complicated? Like, it seems like it would be more than a 2-page PDF. You've been working with it for 4 years. Tell us more. Like, it's a very big concept.
It's huge. So you when you work with the records, you don't have to worry about going to find your soul book, because it would take an eternity. Because the records are not just storing your soul book, they're storing every being that has a soul book. Animals, insects, I mean, you name it has a soul book, as long as it has a soul. So when you enter the records, the only thing you're really focused on is what's going on with your energy. Now, the biggest question I think I get is, why would I want to look at my soul book? There are so many different reasons. I use them not only for information, but for healing. So let's say you had past lives, which I'd be surprised if I met someone that didn't have a past life at this point, but we have these past lives. And if something traumatic happened in a past life and you created karma from the situation, or let's say something happened to you and now it makes you less trusting of people or being in relationships or whatever the case may be, what happens is we can look at the Akashic Records and go, where did this pattern actually begin? Because it may not be in this lifetime that you and I are speaking in right now. It may have been 30 or 40 or 50 lifetimes ago that this pattern started for you. And because we have karma, you just keep carrying it forward and you brought it into this lifetime. So essentially what we do with the records is we break that wheel of karma. We work with them to neutralize the energy, because it can either have a positive or a negative charge. It's having a positive impact on your life, or it's having a negative impact on your life. So
now,
essentially,
before you go on, though, you talk about karma.
Yes.
And help us define what karma is to you.
It's so widespread, but essentially it's energy that you carry forward. So you can have good karma, and I'm using the word bad very loosely here, but you can have bad karma. So there's karma that really helps you. There's good positive karma. It's helping things move forward. You're manifesting what you want. Or you can have the shadow side of the karma, which is, let's say we did something unkind to someone in a past life. Well, that energy needs to be repaid as an equal energy. So,
well, that's what really is interesting. Because,
yes,
you know, we all think, okay, when you first said it, have I done anything that, you know, I need to have cleared from this life? And then when you threw on, because when I first heard this, that it's my past lives, it's like, oh my gosh, how much karma is out there? And is it good? Is it bad? Is it, you know, it kind of is one of those, like, because, you know, you always think about, hey, do good. And there's a guy up, we go skiing every year up at a place called Squaw. And there's a guy who serves us our coffee and gives, you know, the bagels. And if you give him a tip, he says, hey, good karma for the day. And it's one of those. And I laugh because I'm like, I would never not give this guy a tip now, right? I want more good karma. So you're telling me, though, that you really bring in what you have now, some of the issues that you might be having, the fact that, you know, relationships just keep going down that path, or you have these, give me more examples of what you might be bringing in from past lives.
Let's say you were in a relationship in a past life that, I'm going to use a real example that I saw in a client session.
Okay.
There was a past life where the person I was speaking with, we can be male or female in past lives. So our gender right now doesn't matter. But in this life, she's a female. In the past life, she was a male. Mm-hmm. And she ran off with their child. like basically essentially kidnapped the child and ran off.
Mm.
And so that was bad karma. Okay, what she did, right? Because the other parent, the wife at the time, was just, you could see, when I see the life, it was like she was very distraught, like there was just bad karma around this situation. So in this life, what do you think was going on? She's female now. She was experiencing partners in this life that were constantly leaving her, constantly abandoning her. You see the split in the karma, how she's now experiencing what she did in this past life. She's on the other end of it.
Yeah. So you're telling me when you went into her Akashic records, you could see that she was a man before that took this child and left.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. And I would not have believed it, and others might be a little skeptical out there, as you were skeptical when you first heard this, unless my Akashic records were read by you, which we did recently. And I have to say, it is a little bit like, whoa, how'd you know that?
Right.
There was a couple things, you asked me to come with a few specific questions. I brought it up, but you immediately jumped into areas that I hadn't shared with you. Mm-hmm. So Felicia, is this, you called yourself clairvoyant. Is this psychic? Is this clairvoyant? What is it? What is this that you do?
Yeah, I mean, psychic is the most commonly known term. I mean, it's also it's just our intuition. So essentially I'm using my own energy, my own intuition to access this field known as the Akashic Records to get the information. So as I'm receiving it, we all have intuition and we all have clairs. Clairvoyance is not our only clair. We have other clairs, like people that feel very strongly when they meet someone they could feel, or other people, you know how you just know the answer to something, you don't know how you just know. That's another one of our clairs. All of that is intuition. So I'm using all of that to interpret the information that I'm experiencing in the Akashic Records. And sometimes I see it in visions like that past life, and other times I just hear it. So how I'm open to however it comes to me in the records, because it's always different.
What's incredible, and we're going to get to this in a little bit, you actually teach people to be able to read the Akashic Records. I mean, yes. So if somebody is sitting out there listening to this and they're saying, hey, I am not intuitive, I'm not clairvoyant, I've never been able to, have any of that, I'm not that type of person. Do you believe that you can train anybody to access the Akashic Records?
Experience says yes, because that is the biggest objection that I get. That's the biggest thing that people say to me. And every single one of my students right now is working in the Akashic Records. There's not one that can't access the information. You just have to be open. You have to say, okay, I'm willing to try. I'm willing to give this a shot. I'm willing to be open. That's
incredible. So if you're willing to be open, you can absolutely be trained under your tutelage to be able to do this. Okay, well, let's go back to, and I'm not saying let's bring it back to me, but let's bring it back to me and my experience, because it was really interesting. And I am open, as you say, to a lot of experiences, a lot of, I don't think that there's one way to ever get to an end point. But again, it was really interesting when you said, after we had talked about this really deep-seated, almost like a fear, and you said, I know exactly where your block is. Mm-hmm. And then you said, let's just keep talking and I'll just clear it in the background. I mean, yes. In my mind, I actually thought, like, you have a broom and you've got your dustpan and you're like sweeping it in and you're just going to throw it away and it's just going to go away. So help me understand, once you found where my block was, what exactly happens?
It's different depending on the block, but generally I only want one thing when I'm working with someone's Akashic Records. And that is, if someone is bringing an issue to me like you did, I only care about the root cause. So I only care about where this issue actually started. And That's because, like, you know, when you go to the doctor and they're asking about your symptoms, and a lot of times they're treating your symptoms, we're not actually getting to what's causing this issue. I'm the opposite. So I only care about where it started, and I'm aware that it may not have even started in this lifetime. So the main goal for me is, where did it actually begin? And that's always my intention with the records, no matter who I'm working with. So once I find out where it began, like with your block, I saw it right when you brought up what you wanted to talk about. I saw that block immediately, and what
does
was
it,
actually.
okay, I got to push you here.
Yes.
What does a block look like?
It's an energy, and I see it. So we have light and dark, right? So I see a block as a more dense, heavy, darker energy. So I'm basically seeing a block. For you, you had it here around the heart space. Okay. And blocks in the heart space, heart chakra, can cause a lot of issues because this is where we manifest from. So it can make you very guarded. So we had that going on. But if I see a physical issue with somebody, let's say, or they have hip pain, this happens all the time. People have pains that they don't tell me about, and I'll see like an energy block or something on their hip or on their leg or their kneecap or whatever it is. And they'll go, wow, I didn't even tell you about that. So I just see it as like a dense energy. And then I go to locate the root cause, see where it started. And that's when I was talking about these positive, does it have a positive impact or a negative impact? If it has a positive, I obviously leave it alone. It's doing good things for your energy. But if it has a negative impact, I make it neutral. This is basically me working with the universe's energy, which is only unconditional love. That's the energy I work with in the records. Some people might call it God energy, whatever, the creator, source, we have a lot of words for it. I'm using that energy to make it neutral.
So why doesn't everyone learn this and be able to help themselves with business blocks, love blocks, any blocks?
I'm working on getting it out there to as many people as I can, but I wonder the same thing. Why isn't, and everybody, I think it's pretty far out there on the woo-woo scale, you know?
I'd say, yeah, on a 1 to 10 scale, it's pushing it. It's almost at the peak of,
it's on the edge,
10, right?
It's on the edge. I know a lot of people sometimes I've had people tell me before, well, I don't believe I should know my future, which is actually a very religious.
That's interesting.
Which is a very religious belief that we shouldn't ask about future events. And the truth is, you don't have to ask about future events in the records, but at least to let go of what's holding you back from moving forward. Because if we do look at God's highest vision, the universe's highest vision for us, it's for us to be happy and fulfilled and have everything that we want in life. And if you're not feeling that way right now, we have to investigate why, so that you can get there.
Okay. So hearing that, how come, I mean, even up until, a few months ago, I had never heard of this either. And I brought it up to somebody else. They hadn't heard it. I don't know I'm not sure anybody's heard of it except for this very small group. What's the genesis? Where did this start from? Like, who started using these and when?
I think the original was Edward Casey that started using the records. And if you look up at, he has a lot of information online. But even back then, I wouldn't say it was mainstream. I think more people are looking into it now. And as far as the timing on working with the records, if you're listening to our conversation right now and resonate with it, and feel curious, follow that curiosity, right? Then there's something there for you. Because sometimes you'll listen to something and go, oh, that just doesn't resonate. It's probably a timing thing.
And when I heard it, I was definitely intrigued. And what I loved is that, you talk about different forms of, approaches that you can take. You can go to therapy. You can, you can actually go to psychics. You can have, all these different people. But what I was intrigued by is, you said, like I talked about the broom and the dustpan, you can just go in there and kind of look at that block and then it's done. You literally said, Hillary, I've taken care of that block. Now, help people understand, once you told me I've taken care of the block, what happens? Is this a fast? Is this, hey, immediately you kind of feel like euphoric, or is this something that takes time? Help people understand what happens after you do this.
Depends on how receptive the person is to energy work. So on my end, when I say I've cleared a block, that block is gone.
Yep.
It's gone. So I wouldn't say that unless I didn't see the energy there anymore. It can take anywhere from being immediate in the next 24 hours to a couple months for some people to process the energy, because it's called integration. So I typically see something where if I'm working with somebody that has like a physical issue, right? They have something like, I've worked with a lot of clients that have ulcerative colitis, for instance. It takes time for the body to actually heal. So some people have a miraculous healing. I've had one client where she avoided surgery within 1 week of her session for ulcerative colitis. She's very receptive to energy work, though. I have another client that it's taken a lot longer, but she's getting better over time. So it just depends on the belief system. With beliefs.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Keep going with the beliefs and I'll ask my question. Okay.
Yeah, with beliefs, something like, let's say you have money blocks. I actually spoke to someone yesterday that I worked with in early last month, and he told me that he said about himself that he's the anti-placebo, meaning that no matter what happens, he just says, that didn't work. And I was pleased to find out the other day that within a couple days of his session with me, he had like his highest revenue months in July.
Everybody out there who's hearing this is like, I need you. Put that as a testimonial on today.
But that's someone who is self-proclaimed like anti-placebo, does not believe in this work, but was on some level very receptive to it. So I don't really look at timing on somebody's healing. I know that the healing is going to happen. We just have to forget timing and just let it happen when it's going to happen, because the energy will shift.
So what's interesting with what you helped me with, it's an individual that, business dealing in the past that just was an awful situation. And I have carried it for a long time. The gentleman actually ended up, in jail, and it was just like, oh my gosh. You were really interesting in how you said it. And after this whole thing happened, I kind of had like a sense of relief. I mean, it was now anytime I think of that person, I have no like, that heaviness, like, which is interesting. You said that I carried it right there. We never even discussed that. Every time you would have brought his name up, I mean, there's bad people that we've all worked with, right? We all have, there's maybe bad exes that we've all, had, and there's different, different things that just get you going. Well, this was one person that just really, and you said, I was just very tied to him just because of how intense the situation was. And once you said, it's done, that the cord is gone. There's no connection. I have to say, even bringing it up right now, I don't feel that heaviness. I don't feel anything. I mean, it's pretty amazing for me to be able to just even share with people right now. I can't believe I just told the story, that's shocking. But I really love your technique. I love the way you are. For people that are potentially, out there, they're trying to find love again. They're trying to find the love of themselves again. And they are continuing to run into the wrong guy, the wrong this, the wrong that. How can the Akashic Records help them?
I would say the main way is helping you understand yourself better. And one of the major ways is understanding your own patterns. So let's say that you keep attracting the same type of partner over and over again, and you're just like, I know some people get to the point of I'm done. I don't want to date anymore, right? instead of going to that place, just know that that's just a pattern if you're attracting the same kind of person over and over again. So the records can help by identifying where this pattern started and why you keep experiencing it over and over again, and clearing it so that you start attracting a different type of person. And with love, it can be several layers. You know, we can get rid of one pattern and another pattern might come up, but it gets less and less and less over time. You just have to have a commitment to your healing and wanting to understand yourself better. And especially in relationships, what also happens is if we have a bad experience, which we've all had them, right? We can take on certain beliefs about love. And so we have to be really honest and be willing to show up, at least in your healing session, be vulnerable and own up to feeling a certain way and being open to shifting it, because we can certainly shift it, but we have to show up with honesty and humility and integrity so that we can get to the real root cause of what's going on. But I promise those patterns can be shifted and you can attract the person.
That's an interesting comment you just said. If somebody, as they come in, they have their list of, 3 to 5 questions, and all of a sudden you're in there and they haven't asked a specific question, do you say, hey, do you have anything you want to talk about in this? Or do you let them cover their questions? And basically what I'm getting at is, when you were in my records, did you say, oh boy, she really needs to be asking this question? Here's her real block.
So here's what's interesting about it. When, let's say someone books a session with me, the records start working like you did. They start working with you from the moment you book the session leading up to our session. You're already going to start getting information and insights. And to you, it'll seem like, oh, I really want to ask this question. So when that comes up, just write those things down. But if I see a block, if you bring something up to me and I see that there's a different block, I won't hold it in. I'll tell you. I'll bring it up and go, yeah.
So you actually can see that, and they're like, oh, wait,
Oh, absolutely. Because
you gotta go stage left here because there's a lot more issues.
All 80% of the time, because somebody usually will ask me something and then the records will go, well, that's not a priority. This is a priority. It happens all the time.
And what is, after you have a session with you, what do you recommend as the follow-up? Is this something that, you go to every month? Is this every year? What do you see?
I definitely suggest doing 4 sessions minimum, but I offer single sessions if somebody wants to sometimes you just want to try it and see how you feel and how it works. But if you want to get really deep, because we clear in every session, and what happens is the more time we commit to it, we're just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. So the transformation happens faster. And if you just do a single one-off session, we get to go deeper each time and really, it's like peeling an onion. We're going to uncover all of these different layers. So especially for someone that wants to attract the soulmate, or someone that really is at a place where they want to transform their business, making a longer commitment on sessions, at least 4, which is not many. You could even do 1 a week or 1 a month, depending on how long you want to drag out the program. But committing to a little bit longer will let us set a longer intention with the record so we can have time to work through these layers, because it does take some time.
So I know that that's one way to work with you. And tell us a little bit more about, what are you doing right now? What's important to you? How can, if it's resonating with them, what else can they do with you?
You can come and learn how to read your own Akashic Records with me and heal your own Akashic Records. That's the main thing. I'll teach you how to read them, but I'm also going to teach you my process of clearing the energy in the records, getting rid of the energy and manifesting what you want. So that's always an option to enroll in that course. Other than that, and working with me one-on-one, I'm always connecting with people online. You're welcome to just be in my community. I have a community of everybody that's interested in the records, and
that's on Facebook.
Yes.
Your community on Facebook. But then, is the course that you have, is that it's an online course, and is it revolving? Anyone could join at any time, or do you have certain groups that go through together?
You can sign up at any time. And so that's new. It used to just be only launched twice a year, but now we just have open enrollment because people are interested at different times.
Right.
So, and we do one call a month in that program too. So it's a coaching call with me. So if you have your own blocks that come up, or you're having any trouble in the records, or whatever's going on for you, you just jump on that call and I help you directly with that. So even though it's a rotating course, I'm still there with you. I'm very active in the Facebook group, and we're working through all of this together.
Well, I love everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, very skeptical, and then I met with you, and it's a very interesting process. Now, I understand that there is, for the people that want to go to your site, that there's something that you've created a download on this, or a free gift for them.
Yes, I have a free gift for everyone, just as a thank you for listening. So what I'm doing is just giving you my meditation that's in my course. So if you want to get in the Akashic Records on your own and just go exploring, that's what this meditation helps you do. It's less than 10 minutes long. I think it's about 8.5 minutes. You listen to me, guide you into the records, and you'll be in there yourself in 8 minutes. So
Okay, I haven't heard this, so I'm super excited. So everybody, it'll be right below, and you can download it, and then you will have it. And then if that intrigues you more, definitely go check out the site, go check out either working one-on-one as I did with you, or get involved in the online class. Super, super cool. Felicia, thank you. I mean, every bit of what we just talked about was super cool to me. Thanks for sharing it all. I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great talking to you, Hillary, and thank you everyone for listening.
Wonderful. And everyone, I just want to make sure tomorrow we will have a couple more segments of the Love Flick show. So definitely you're going to want to check out who's to come, more expert advice. But again, you've got now the ability to access your own Akashic Records via what Felicia just gave us, which is a meditation type of download. So go check that out. Go check out what she's talking about on her site. Look below. There's a link. And everyone, as Relaunch Love always says, live now, love now. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.